Hey, Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. How you doing today? I hope you're having a great day out there. You know, every now and then we do like rah-rah videos, and then we do, I don't know, motivational type videos, and then other times I do really detailed videos. I like doing the details, but today's going to be a little bit of both. Don't worry, I got the details for you. I want to talk about 4 things that I think you should be talking to your spouse about, and include details, so you're not just like, well, I don't know, honey. What do you think we should do? I want to have actual details here for you today. So let's get right into it, because this is our FinTip series where we just try to go real quick, teach you something new, and get out of the way so you can get back to life. Okay, let's get started here. 4 things to talk about with your spouse. Number 1, spousal IRA. Are you finding that you may be the one that's interested in all of this because you're watching right now, and your spouse is not so much? But you're like, okay, I'm putting money in an IRA. I'm doing everything that I can. I got my workplace plan. What else can I do? Well, if you are married, filing jointly, then and if you have an IRA and your spouse doesn't, but she doesn't work or he doesn't work and they're not making any kind of income, what happens is you could have, let's say, a Roth IRA, if that's what you chose, or an IRA. This one would be for you. And then even if you are married, filing jointly, and your spouse doesn't make any money at all, you can take a spousal IRA, right? All this means is it's just an IRA in your spouse's name. They would be the controller of it and everything. It could be an IRA or a Roth or whatever, but you could take your dollars that you make and put it into that IRA, even if your spouse has never worked a day in their life, right? Maybe they stay at home or they have something else they're working on, kids, family, etc. So you can actually take your money and do that. So it's another way to start another Roth IRA. This happens all the time right now, where people call me and they're like, Dustin, I maxed out my Roth. You can see I maxed out my Roth. I maxed it out for 2020 already. I got more money I'm trying to save. What should I do? I go, well, you're married, right? Open one for your wife or your husband or whatever. So you guys should talk about that, because, your spouse is going to have this in their name. They're going to have their own beneficiaries, probably you. And so you want to make sure you know that. But spousal IRAs, you can actually contribute the full amount. So you can take, let's say for 2020, if you're under the age of 50, you could put $6,000 in your Roth IRA. Then you can take another $6,000 and put it in your spouse's IRA, even if they don't work. So that's number 1. Talk to them. Say, honey, look, if you're not into this investing thing, I know we need to save a little bit more. I'm going to use a spousal IRA. Make sure they know what's going on there. All right, number 2, we're going to talk about beneficiaries. You know what happens over time? I've mentioned this before. You go through life. You had a 401k. You left that job. You got an old 401k. Maybe you had a TSP. You started a Roth IRA. You gave up on it. You lost track of that one. Somewhere along the line, you got 5 or 6 different accounts. That's fine. You'll catch up to those in the future. But I'm talking about your beneficiaries today. You want to make sure you have the right beneficiaries listed, because, hey, anything can happen. I hear these stories all the time, unfortunately, right, where people have these other accounts at work, things like this, and they just forgot to change the beneficiaries along the way. Maybe their Roth IRA, they didn't add in there a traditional IRA, a SEP IRA, all this great stuff. Oops, that's a SEP. Here's what I want you to do. Not just consider the people you're leaving as primary and secondary beneficiaries, but thanks to the new Secure Act, for the next 2 years, you're going to break it down like this. We did a whole class for our customers to break this down, but you are going to look at your accounts and your beneficiaries in the following respect. For the next 2 years until 2022, you are going to look at your 401k, your TSP, and your 403b, and you are going to, I want you to consider, I'm not telling you what to do, I have to get that on record actually, but you're going to look at the 401k, 457s, 403bs, TSPs. You're going to look at those, and you are going to leave those, your beneficiaries, to the youngest people you can find. Nobody's telling you this right now. You got to make sure you do this. Workplace plans and TSPs go currently for the next 2 years. Leave them to the youngest people that you can, okay? Who knows? Anything could happen to you. Let's hope everything goes well. Your Roth IRA, your traditional IRA, your SEP IRA, things like that, your beneficiaries for the next 2 years are going to go to the oldest people, children, grandchildren, whoever you're leaving these accounts to, okay? So really, really, really serious until 2022, right? After that, you can do whatever you want. But from 2022, the youngest people get these accounts as beneficiaries, the oldest will get these. That's because of the new Secure Act and how it's been sort of address the RMDs. The stretch requirement has been shortened dramatically on those, but not on those. So you're going to take advantage of that tax delay, I guess is what they call it, in the meantime. Okay, number 3, you want to talk to your spouse about retirement. Are you guys going to retire at different times? You're going to retire at the same times. Here's the thing. If one of you is making the most amount of money you've ever made, you might consider working longer, letting your spouse retire, because that's going to account for your Social Security and your spousal benefits, Social Security survivor benefits. That's what I was trying to say. So one of you is in like your peak earnings of your life. You may want to consider working a little bit longer. It also help you save a little bit more if you're making more. They weren't making as much anyways, and maybe they were slowing down closer to retirement. Health insurance is going to be a key there. Talk about that. Do you need to keep working to keep health insurance? It is ridiculous what healthcare costs out there these days. So you may need to keep working to keep health insurance, maybe do something different along those ways, and which would also maybe help you delay Social Security. If you retire early, you got to go find your own health insurance and you're not Medicare eligible, well, you may consider taking Social Security early because you got to pay those bills. I want you to talk to your spouse about that. Who's retiring early? Why is one of you going to keep working if you are, etc. If one of you is already eligible for Medicare, then that's another example as well. You'd be of that age. Then maybe the younger person stays working to keep the health care as well. You notice how we keep going back to the health care there? It's unfortunate. It is so expensive. And number 4, let's wrap this thing up. Taxes on your investments. You know what's funny is when you're younger, the younger people are like, ooh, what do I invest in? The older people are like, ooh, how do I take money out of my account and pay the least amount of taxes, right? It's inevitable. You go through your life trying to find the great investments and following all the books and everything. And as you get older, you're like, well, that worked. It's fine. I have all this money now. Turns out if I take all the money out of one account, I'm going to get taxed to death. You want to consider that. Now with the new Secure Act, you actually have until 72 to start your RMDs out of IRAs, traditional IRAs. And so that's a consideration, may help lower your taxes. But you want to talk now about how you're going to approach that. We're in Florida. We work with a lot of retirees, a lot of people close to retirement. It's a beautiful state. People come to retire down here. And the biggest question that I get from them is, I have this account, this account, this account, and this account. I need X number of dollars a month. Where do I pull it out to pay the least amount of taxes? Sounds like a high school algebra equation or something, right? Like the train's leaving the station and airplanes leaving at the same time. Anyways, there's a way to figure that out, right? We use Nest Egg here to kind of help our customers and illustrate that. But you want to make sure that you're discussing how you're going to take the money out. Now, this is for those of you that are closer to retirement, of course, because you're about to start taking money out. If we need to do Roth conversions, if we need to make any adjustments before you retire, do it now. It gets a little bit harder as you get older and start getting into those Social Security years. So there you go. Number 1, talk about a spousal IRA. If your spouse is into this, watching this video, and you're like, I want to start an IRA, but I don't work, so I can't. Are you married filing jointly? Talk to your spouse. Number 2, beneficiaries. We talked about that. The youngest people get the workplace plans for now. The older people get the Roth IRAs and things like that. But more importantly, just make sure that you look and see who the beneficiaries are. You know what I mean? If something happens to you, make sure it goes to the right people. We also don't want to volunteer them for extra taxes. That's why I gave you those options there. Number 3, you guys going to retire at different times? If so, it's probably a good idea. I hear a lot of bad stories about people that retire at the same time and then they're sitting there staring at each other and they're like, we just argue all the time. It turns out we don't like the same things. We were busy our whole lives. We never knew. It's not funny, but it's funny, right? So if you're retiring at different times, what's the reason? Is it health care? Is it to make more money, to increase Social Security, delay Social Security as well? And number 4, taxes on your investments. How are you going to go about that? Think about it. Work through it. If you are working with an advisor, make them go through that and tell you how it's going to work. Ask for the tools and the things, etc. If you are working with an advisor and they haven't helped you with that, I hope you'll keep us in mind. I know we do a little bit of rambling in these videos, but that's because I'm trying to make it quick. If I work with you, I am geeky about the numbers. I will go through and show you exactly how to take your money out so you pay the least amount of taxes. And more importantly, when you leave your legacy to your family, that they don't pay taxes as much as possible either, although that clamp is getting tighter, right? All right, I hope you enjoyed. I appreciate you watching. If you did like the video, I'm supposed to tell you to hit the subscribe button, the thumbs up button, all the buttons that are really good and positive. I appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.